Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody is enjoying their Monday evening. Of course, we're in a little bit of a break. We're in that every 3 days you're going to get a storm pattern. This next one will be a lot different than the storm we just had. I take 10 of the last the storms we had yesterday over what's heading into our direction for tomorrow night. So many different variables of this next storm system. Snow will change to rain with this one. Flooding may become an issue. We're talking about poor drainage areas, basement flooding, stream flooding. The mountains will get over a foot of snow. Some of the higher elevations, at least, will get that much snow. There's the potential for power outages. I think winds become a real issue with this storm system, and we'll be watching the potential for coastal flooding as well. We're watching that high tide at about 9:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So that's 4 variables right there. So at least with the last one, we had 1. It was snow. And that was nice. Hope everybody enjoyed the snow event that we had yesterday. It looks like we have the next one on deck. Moving in for tomorrow night. I want to highlight 9 p.m. Tuesday to 9 a.m. Wednesday. A lot of folks have been coming up to me today saying, hey, Charlie, tell me about the Wednesday storm. It's not necessarily a Wednesday storm. I really want to drive home that it's more of a tomorrow night through Wednesday morning storm. By late morning on Wednesday, we're already seeing improvement. And I think by afternoon Wednesday, there'll probably be a few showers drifting through. But as soon as that wind shifts over to the west, I think we'll see marked improvement for our Wednesday. So again, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. I think that's probably going to be the big impactful time range. Strongest winds, my best guess is 3 a.m. to about 8 a.m. That's the way it looks here. And that window will get some pretty strong winds, especially near the coast. So let's highlight what we have right now. Our storm is still pretty far away. Here's our storm system that is working its way. There he is, right there. Center of low pressure. There's a little front down in here. And that will be tracking off to our west in a fashion like that. And it looks like we're going to introduce some warmer air. If you remember from the last storm system, we talked a lot about storm track and how that really is important in determining precip type. You need a storm to track out in the ocean for us to get the cold air in place in a snowstorm. But some areas is going to get a lot of snow. Even before the changeover to rain, there'll be spots that probably get 4, 5, 6 inches of snow in this watch area. So we have winter storm watch that goes into effect Tuesday evening, extends through Wednesday afternoon. We have the highest totals expected in the mountains in the watch area. Some spots can get, or at least may potentially get up over a foot of snow. We have a flood watch that goes into effect Tuesday evening. It looks like the coastal flood watch ended up overlaying on that as well. But in the darker shade of green, that does go down to the coastline. We're expecting about 1 3/4 to 3 inches of rain. That in combination with snow melt will likely produce some problems in the poor drainage areas. I don't think we're going to get the river flooding that we had a few weeks ago. And the reason for that, the headwaters back through the hills and mountains where we had the heavy rainfall last time, remember 6, 7 inches of rain, and we had the snow melt with that. Those areas in the headwaters are going to get a snowstorm out of this one. So we're not going to see that runoff of rain and melted snow. Instead, for the rest of us in southern and central Maine, we will get some runoff from the melted snow and the rainfall. It's just not in the mountains. So the mountains, that rain is nowhere to go except down the hills into the streams and rivers. And my hope is if temperatures stay in the 40s for a good chunk of the day, that snowpacks can sometimes act like a sponge, kind of absorbing a lot of that rainfall. There will be some runoff regardless. The ground is frozen underneath the snow. So I think there will be some problems with poor drainage areas, basement flooding. I mean, it's that kind of setup here. You know, the area right around the basement that melts first, and, you know, you get the water that seeps in. So make sure your pumps work, sub pumps work. I think it's probably one of those storms. The good news, I guess, you know, rainfall amounts do look up there, but they're not in the, 4, 5, 6 inch range that we had a few weeks ago. It's probably 1 3/4 to about 3 inches of rain. All right, high wind warnings go into effect 4 p.m. tomorrow and extend through 7 a.m. Wednesday. There will likely be some advisories issued over the interior, wind advisories, but a high wind warning is a real deal. I think there'll be some spots that get peak wind gusts 55 to 65 miles per hour. Power outages are likely in that setup. My hope is with a southeast wind, which we're expecting, the strongest winds, or at least the weak tree limbs that we had a few weeks ago. Hopefully, a lot of those have already broken and we're not dealing with the same situation. But I think this is enough for some outages. There's another max area in the mountains through Coos County and in a large portion of northern New Hampshire as well. So high wind warning goes in effect 4 p.m. We'll talk about the winds in more detail. In just a second. In addition to that, we have a coastal flood watch. This will likely be converted to a coastal flood warning for the high tide on Wednesday morning. Tides are running pretty high already due to the moon cycle. It's already running at 10.3 feet, and this is 9:36 a.m. So the 9:30 a.m. high tide on Wednesday will likely cause some problems with minor coastal flooding, beach erosion, and splash over. There'll be some pretty big waves in that window as well. The forecast high tide is 12.6 feet. Flood stage in Portland is 12 feet. So we're probably talking about some minor coastal flooding. And that's the high tide, the only high tide we're really watching. Tide's also running pretty high next week or this weekend when our next storm moves in. We talked about an every 3-day storm. The next one will be Friday night and Saturday. And that one, tides are running even a little bit higher, probably some of the highest of the month. So we'll probably be dealing with some more issues with coastal flooding Friday night into Saturday. I didn't look at the tides for those just yet, but we'll take it one storm at a time. Center of low pressure is about 1,400 miles off to our south. The area of low pressure is right here tonight. And that will be tracking to our west. So let's talk about the track. Remember the snowstorm we had? It was tracking south of Cape Cod that holds the cold air in place. We call those nor'easters because it holds the northeast wind. Now, if this was a little bit stronger, this area of low pressure was a little bit stronger, we had a stronger high to the north, we would see the cold air hanging on. That's just not the case. There will be some cold air at the onset, and most of you will start with snow tomorrow night, about 24 hours from now, but that snow will change to rain. So here's the items that we just highlighted. I think most areas, winds are probably going to be the big story, especially near the coast. Mountain snow, some areas get over a foot here. This is going to be a big snowstorm for some of the ski resorts, some of the higher elevations, especially Sugarloaf, Saddleback, Sunday River. They'll do all right, but it's a Wildcat. Some, the ones that get really high up in elevation over 4,000 feet are going to benefit the most. Flooding, we're talking about poor drainage flooding, urban stream flooding, river flooding is probably not as much of an issue. There could be some more shallower rivers that have some issues, but I don't think we're going to see anything like we had a few weeks ago as far as the river flooding goes. And coastal flooding, we just highlighted that 9:30 high tide. If you're just joining us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, I keep calling it Twitter, X, and YouTube. First off, thank you for joining us. But it looks like the time to highlight is probably 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So overnight tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Let's walk through this together. Let's go through the timing. Notice the clouds, they'll thicken and increase tomorrow. Kids go to school, you go to work, no problems tomorrow. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Storm tracker might be a little too warm here. I could see one of those days where it's really cold to start the day and the temperature just won't warm up. So upper 20s should do it inland, I think, and we'll probably at least make it into the 30s for the coast. But tomorrow could be one of those cooler days where you're just waiting for it to warm up, but it just never does. So with cold air in place, I think many of you start as snow, and some of these temperatures may be running a little bit too cold, but you get the general idea of what's happening here. We have a rain snow line that's already trying to sharpen up at 8 p.m. And I think most of you will start as snow. Even in the greater Portland area, we'll start as snow. We'll probably get a coating to 2 inches before the changeover to rain. But what's going to happen with a strong southeast wind, a lot of times that cold air can be really stubborn, but the wind is going to pick up. And that wind, it's almost a guarantee that wind is going to start cranking tomorrow night. Strongest winds will probably be during the pre-dawn hours on Wednesday. But I think as soon as maybe 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll start getting some gusts around 40 miles per hour. And that's usually enough for some outages. And it's probably enough that it will allow for a warm-up for southern and coastal zones. So there's that rain snow line sharpening up from mid-coast Maine, going all the way back into, south of Sebago Lake or the south side of the lake. Most of you along the coastal plain, excluding the Penobscot Bay area, have probably already seen a change over to rain. and heavy rain at that. Yellow's orange color indicates some heavy rain. Blue, especially the dark blue, indicates some heavy bands of snow. Let's take it about 5 o'clock in the morning now on Wednesday. The back edge of the heavy rain and the mountain snow is starting to move out. And the jackpot of this will be over the higher elevations in the mountains for snowfall. The jackpot in rainfall is pretty much going to be all of us in southern and central Maine. Even if you get 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, you're going to see a changeover to rain over the interior. So we're probably looking at a slushy mess into the early morning hours. It's not going to be extremely warm. I don't think we're getting well into the 50s. Storm Tracker's a little overdone, I think, a little overzealous with this warm up. You might hit 50 degrees, but it's not like 57 like the last storm we had, 58 degrees or anything like that. We're probably talking about 40s for most of the event. 10 a.m. Wednesday, it's gone. So again, this is not a Wednesday storm. This is a Tuesday night through Wednesday morning storm. We'll probably still have some issues into the early morning commute. Issues being strong winds, heavy rainfall, and mountain snow. But I think the time frame for it moving out is probably pretty early in the day on Wednesday. We've been highlighting 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., but we're also highlighting the strongest winds 3 a.m. to about 8 a.m. In that window, our southeast winds will gust probably over 50 miles per hour. Leading to some outages. Could be some scattered showers throughout the afternoon Wednesday, but the afternoon, evening looks okay. Thursday, Friday is okay. Friday night, Saturday, our next storm moves in. So as far as snowfall amounts go, a lot of this we'll see a change over to rain pretty quickly. Wouldn't be shocked to see a few spots on the 2 to 5 inch range on the northern and western edge of that contour. A few spots may get up around 6 inches of snow, but I think the Lewiston area gets in the upper end of that 2 to 5. Same with the Augusta area. You could get a half foot in a few spots here, but you'll see a changeover to rain that's going to compact really quickly. Even the Portland area, I think we get a coating to 2 inches of snow before the changeover. The only areas that probably won't see anything at all might be Seacoast, New Hampshire, maybe extreme southern coastal York County. But the jackpot in this one looks clear of the higher elevations. It's pretty much the spine of the mountains from the presidential range going right up into central Oxford County and more so up into, you go up towards the Bigelows right over here. There's Rangeley area. There'll be spots here that get 10 to 15 plus. In fact, I would not be shocked to see some spots around maybe 18 inches of snow over the higher elevations. It looks like the ski resorts that really benefit from this scenario. We used to call this the old Sugarloaf Special. Actually, we still call it the old Sugarloaf Special because I think, the warmer air is coming in from the west, the warmer air is coming in from the south. And that's one of the mountains that's last to see the changeover. So even the White Mountains in New Hampshire, you will get the changeover quicker than areas like Saddleback and Sugarloaf. So I know there are a lot of skiers that check this weather extra out, and there will be some heavy wet snow in that area. Good base snow expected. Even those areas in the mountains will probably get a little bit of rain or wintry mix on top of that. So 5 to 10, and you go up towards even Bridgeton area. I think you get in the 5 to 10. Pleasant Mountain gets into that range as well. Even northern Androscoggin County from Turner to Livermore to Leeds, perhaps northern Kennebec County, you're probably getting the low end of that 5 to 10. Even you will see that change over to rain though. Here's rain tracker. 1 3/4 to about 3 inches of rain should do it for most of the area. Now let's talk wind for a moment. This is what you don't want to see, right? I think wind is probably going to be the biggest issue. Looks like most areas from Casco Bay to Penobscot Bay get 55 to 65 mile per hour peak gusts, and that's enough for outages, of course. I think anywhere from, heading 20 miles inland or so, we're probably talking 45 to 55 miles per hour. And farther inland, 30, 40 miles inland, it's probably 35 to 45 miles per hour for peak winds. There'll be another max in the mountains, of course. I'd have like 12 more contours if I wanted to highlight the exact wind gusts of Mount Washington. It's going to be a lot stronger than that 55 to 65, but there will be some spots in the valleys that you get some of those strong winds as well. So the way to think about this, I think, there's a lot of numbers on here. If you live near the coastline, just think 50 to 65, inland 40 to 55. And that's enough for some outages. It's a southeast wind, meaning the wind is coming out of the southeast. So it's coming in off the ocean. That's why we're going to have our strongest winds at the coastline. That's the way it looks. Not a great scenario here. And it's overnight. Peak winds are probably 3 a.m. to 8 a.m., which is it's funny when you think about a lot of the wind events we've had over the last several years. A lot of them, those October storms we had, a lot of those were at night, right? I mean, I can remember just not being able to sleep. It's so windy with a southeast wind. Um, and the one we had on December 18th, that was during the day. And I had a discussion with my wife leading into the storm. I said, you know what? The kids are going to be at school. They're going to send kids to school. And my guess was that they were going to send them home probably during the strongest winds. And that's exactly what happened. So it's kind of unusual. We haven't had one of those in years where the strongest winds were during the day when folks were at work, kids were at school, and it was kind of well predicted. I was talking to my wife about it. And if it was funny because if it was a hurricane with, we had the same kind of winds. If the storm had a name, there's no way the kids would have gone to school. But it's just a southeast wind, doesn't have a name, so nobody cares. It's funny how our minds think that way. At least my mind's always thinking that way. They never would have sent the kids to school if it was named like Bob or Lee or whatever. But regardless, though, let's talk wind for tomorrow night. So this is an overnight. We started talking about this because it's an overnight type wind. This is 1 a.m. The wind's starting to crank over 40 miles per hour. So it's probably around 9 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll start getting some pretty strong winds. Not extreme, though. I don't think we're gonna see our worst winds early in the night. Our strongest winds are probably very, very early in the day tomorrow. On Wednesday, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Wednesday morning. We're talking 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., 8 a.m. for our strongest winds. And it's probably at the coastline that we'll get our strongest winds, and right up into mid-coast Maine as well. These areas will gust over 50 miles per hour. A large portion from Penobscot Bay, maybe down to Casco Bay. Some spots here will gust over 60 miles per hour. That's the way it looks. So that's a respectable wind, and it moves out during the morning. So again, we've been highlighting 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. This is 10 a.m. It's gone. So I think we're in good shape by late morning and early afternoon. Notice the wind shifting over to the west. We'll get some respectable gusts over 20 miles per hour. But as far as the strongest wind goes, I think that moves out by 9 a.m. or maybe 10 a.m. across mid-coast. Those of you across Penobscot Bay, it's going to be a little bit later for you because we're moving from west to east. Tomorrow, we have no problems. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Wednesday, that's our strongest wind. There's your 7-day forecasts. We have improving weather for Thursday, Friday. And then our next storm moves in Friday night, Saturday. It's probably mostly rain at the coast, and it's snow to rain inland. And we'll get some gusty winds, but not like tomorrow night's storm. I think this Friday night into Saturday situation will be a storm, but it's not going to be quite as strong as the one we have tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. And the wind picks up on Sunday as well. I meant to put partly sunny, windy. I'll have to fix that. Did I put that in the inland forecast? I don't know. We'll go back and check that out in a minute here. So let's stop this on a graphic that we probably want to check out. Let's go back to the wind graphic. Those of you that want to see the snow forecast before the changeover to rain, many of you get a few to several inches before the changeover. The mountains get the jackpot. Let's just take a look at some of your comments right now. We can hopefully answer a lot of your questions. How much rain is coming on Saturday? I don't know yet, Wanda. Let's revisit that one. I haven't really worked too much on the Saturday storm. It does not look as extreme as the one that we just are going through tomorrow. Hope that helps. Cynthia says, thanks for the detailed forecast. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of people are checking in on the weekend forecast. Is the weekend storm following this storm's trend also? It's going to be a similar type storm where I think it's snow changing to rain, Joseph, but it's probably not quite as strong as the one we're dealing with tomorrow night. I don't think the winds are going to be as bad, but you'll feel some wind still. Tomorrow night, you'll feel the wind. Tomorrow night will be one of those nights, especially if your bedroom faces southeast or east, you'll wake up to the wind. At least that's the way it works for me. I have a hard time sleeping when it's that windy, but that's the way it goes. Do you think there will be school for the Lewis and Auburn area? It's a tough one. Here's the deal. If there's widespread outages, Cameron, I think you won't have school. But I don't think I think it's pretty manageable for snow. It's probably raining in the morning on Wednesday for you. So I don't think that snow is going to be a huge thing. It'll be a slushy mess by the time you get up. How about this? It's possible. Let's leave it at that. Let's revisit that tomorrow. Let's see. All right, here. What do you think? Byron says, got a guess for the rain changeover time in Bethel? Oh, I don't. It'll be overnight, I think, but it will be before you get up, I think, Byron. But I think Bethel gets into the 5 to 10. Yeah, that's what happens. That's funny, Philip. Let's see. Hope we don't lose power in Brunswick. Diane says, yeah, I'm with you. There's a decent chance we will see some power outages, though, Diane. All right, let's see what we have now. How much rain is Paris getting on Wednesday? I think you probably get around 2 inches, but Paris will probably, some of that will be snow. So you get 5 to 10 inches before the changeover. So hopefully that rain can absorb, the snow can absorb some of that rain. So we have a pretty good dry snowpack out there. Yeah, that's what Buddy said. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm planning on no power. We'll see what happens. All right. Greg says, get the generators ready. Let's hope all the dead branches and things that cause power outages already happened with the last one. I don't know. Ground's frozen. We'll see what happens. There will be some outages. I just hope it's not too bad. All right. Klein says, I think we'll hang on to the snow longer. I hope so. That's one of the things I'm trying to figure out in my mind, like how much of the snow is going to disappear. I doubt all of it's going to disappear. I have, 15, 16 inches in my backyard. It's going to take more than 2 inches of rain probably to get that to disappear. But it's funny. And what was it? What was the year? The Grinch storm? Yeah, we had 17 inches of snow on the ground. Is that the Grinch storm? No, it was the year before that. It was the other Grinch storm where we had 17 inches of snow on the ground. And I went into think, okay, there's no problem. We're going to have a white Christmas. And Christmas morning, woke up and there was no snow. Like 17 inches melted like that in that rainstorm. So I can never tell how much is going to melt with the heavy rain. Sugarloaf, yeah, Sugarloaf has mostly snow. You'll probably end with a little bit of mix or something up there. But I'm with you. Sugarloaf's they're gonna get a lot of snow. Same as Saddleback, Wildcat, those areas. I'm not even gonna rule out 2 feet of snow. It's possible. So we have them 10 to 15 plus. Actually, let's look at it. Let's go back to the snow. That's not what I want. Hold on. Hang tough. There we go. That's the snow map. So Sugarloaf is situated right here. Another great storm over the years. If some of you may remember the Patriots Day nor'easter. Patriots Day southeaster, if you want to call it that. That was a much different storm. The center of the storm was down near Connecticut, but we had strong winds with that storm. Portland buoy recorded a wave of 32 or 35 feet or something, and then it stopped recording because it got dislodged. I mean, it was a nutty storm, but we got a lot of rain with that. And it's funny, after all the power outages, after all the rain, I mean, a day later, that was kind of a little bit before social media was a big thing. It was back in 2007. The media guy over at Sugarloaf sent me a message and said, oh yeah, Charlie, by the way, we got 3 feet of snow. Like it got like a ton of snow. It was the year in 2007. I think just in April alone, they had like 90 inches of snow or something crazy. So bottom line is Sugarloaf really benefits from these storms. This is a good type of storm for that area. Yeah. Heather, we're not talking drought. That's for sure. Yeah, it was the wettest. So last year, 23 was the wettest since 2009. The summer at least was wettest since 2009. And as far as watches and warnings go, I was looking at the Weather Service and how many flood warnings they've issued. I think the previous summer, it was something like the record was like 16 flash flood warnings. I think they issued like 60 something flash flood warnings this year. It wasn't even close. It was crazy how many flash flood warnings were issued. All right. So, yeah. You're welcome, Sharon. Thanks for checking in tonight. Let's walk through this here. Hi from Booth Bay Harbor. Hey, Sue. All right. So I'm going through these comments really quickly. Yeah, I'm hoping no more tree limbs fall as well. All right. So James says, worry about forecasting your viewing area and let the northern stations do their job. My guess is somebody made a comment about northern Maine up here. We'll find it though. How many inches of Lewiston? Good question, Brandon. I'm not sure. I think I have Lewiston in the 2 to 5. You're probably in the upper end of that. I could see 6, but it's probably 2 to 5. We'll see. Upper end of 2 to 5. Hey, Brandon, how you doing today? Let's see. I hope we don't see widespread outages, but it's possible. How about a simple? Oh, that's all right. All right. Thanks, James. Hi from Birthday Harbor, Charlie. Hello, Sue. Ashley wants a Blockbuster. We just had a Blockbuster. That would be nice. I was talking to my daughter the other day. So imagine this morning. No, it was last night. So imagine we got another 2 feet of snow or 1.5 feet of snow on top of what we have right now. That would be pretty wild. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be like February of 1969, where there were multiple snowstorms, and Mount Washington got like 600 inches of snow that year. Anyway, how much snow for Jay in the Wilton area? All right, so Jay in Wilton is in 5 to 10. Carrie, hope that helps. Even you will probably end with some rain though. Same in Farmington. Chris, 5 to 10. CMP will be back. Power outage. CMP will be back. Power outage. Yeah, I think there will be some power outages, Joseph. A lot of people checking in about the loaf. I like it. Mostly snow, Rob. I think you stay mostly snow up there. Big storm for the loaf. But you'll see, the loaf's going to end. There'll be that crust on top. It's one of those. You'll end with some rain or mix. Might be sleet, and depends. I don't know. It depends how quickly the warm air gets in. But Sugarloaf is the last to get it. So situated in a good spot for a storm like this. The presidential range could do really well as well. So we'll keep an eye on them. But the thing about the presidential range is they get the warm air coming in from the west and the south. So it's like a V of warm air trying to come in, and it's a lot of times they can really it can really come in quickly. How quick is the change over to rain in Franklin County? I think it happens overnight. So late, probably early morning hours, Wednesday. Hello, Bemis. Hello from Fairfield. Is the wind direction different than the last big wind event? No, southeast. Let's look at that. Let's look at that again. Let's look at the southeast wind. Here we go. So 8 p.m. tomorrow night. This is 1 a.m. It's cranking over 40. And there's your peak wind time range, 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. Don't like that time range. We should just be strong winds like early night or like in the morning or something. It's just the overnight, something about it I just don't like. But those October storms are all overnight, early morning. It's just like that October 2017 storm where, southeast wind comes in, peak winds at 6 a.m. Actually, I think the peak wind from that storm was 6. It was in the 6 o'clock hour. I remember it because I got up early and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to peak out at like 61 miles per hour. And then I think we jumped to like 69 or something like that. But yeah, that was another fun one, right? Not looking forward to the next one. Yeah, just skip it. It's an active pattern. We're not finished even with a Saturday storm. There'll be multiple storms, probably through at least the 22nd, somewhere in there. So, and then it looks like it's going to get cold. So yeah, got to work on that too. right. I think we've answered everyone's questions, and we get snow or rain from the next storm. Saturday. Saturday is snow changing to rain. Hope that answers your question. Huh? Yeah, you're right, buddy. It's exactly it. It's rare you can say that. So folks are getting 1 inch to 15 inches. Actually, I'm going to go from 0 to about 18 inches. How's that? I think that's going to be the range in the area. Isn't that what makes this fun? Meteorology is fun, right? All right. I think we answered everyone's questions. How's Durham looking? 2 to 5, Alex. You'll change over to rain, though. Everybody likes that. All right, cool. All right, folks. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Let's just go through the timing one more time, and the peak wind gust. So multiple variables: 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. This is tomorrow. No problems tomorrow. Kids go to school. No problems at work. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just clouds. Kind of cool though. Tomorrow's just kind of a cool raw day, I think. There's that rain snow line trying to sharpen up. Even the coastline probably starts to snow, but that southeast wind starts to get going, my guess, 8, 9 o'clock or so. And that southeast wind's important because that's going to warm us up, or at least warm us above freezing. That rain snow line gets all the way up into about Route 2 points north, and the back edge of Mount Snow, heavy rainfall, moves out probably by 10 a.m. on Wednesday. There'll be some scattered showers in the afternoon, but I think the time range for the worst of this is overnight into early Wednesday. Snowfall amounts, we just looked at that. Many of you will see a lot of rain on top of that, so it's a slushy mess. 1 3/4 to 3 inches of rain should be expected. And peak wind gusts, there they are. Enough for power outages. All right. I think that's enough. All right. You've wasted enough time hanging out with me tonight, so get back to your evening. I order you. No. Thanks for hanging with me. That's what I should say. I really appreciate you hanging on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube tonight. We'll have many more updates. Emily's in tomorrow morning with another update tomorrow morning, and it looks like we'll have more updates tomorrow night as well. Join us back here. Let's try to plan on something around 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and we'll take it from there. All right, folks. Have a nice night. Good seeing everyone. Take care.